One command from the Shogun could make a man richer than any lord in Japan, or condemn him to lose everything he owned. Most samurai spent their entire lives seeking honor, wealth, and power. But one of Japan's greatest warriors willingly surrendered them all for something far more valuable. He was offered a simple choice: abandon Jesus Christ and keep his kingdom, or remain faithful and lose everything. His answer shocked the entire nation. During the late 16th century, Christianity spread across Japan with astonishing speed. Missionaries led by St. Francis Xavier had introduced the gospel only a few decades earlier, yet hundreds of thousands embraced the Christian faith. Among them were influential daimyo, powerful feudal lords who governed vast territories, and one of the most respected was Takayama Ukon. Born into a samurai family in 1552, Ukon grew up mastering swordsmanship, military strategy, and the strict code of honor that defined Japan's warrior class. As a young man, however, his father encountered Christian missionaries and accepted baptism. Soon afterward, Ukon also became a Christian, receiving the baptismal name Justo. His new faith would shape every decision for the rest of his life. Unlike many rulers who viewed religion merely as a political tool, Ukon believed the teachings of Christ should transform the way a leader governed. He encouraged the construction of churches throughout his domain, welcomed missionaries, protected Christian families, and treated his own people with unusual mercy. His castle became known not only as a military stronghold, but also as a place where the gospel was openly preached. Thousands accepted Christianity under his protection. Even those who did not convert respected the integrity with which he ruled. Everything changed when Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the ruler who unified much of Japan, began to fear the growing influence of Christianity. Advisors warned that Christian daimyo might eventually become more loyal to foreign missionaries than to Japan itself. In 1587, Hideyoshi issued an order demanding that Christian leaders abandon their faith. Many chose compromise. Others practiced Christianity in secret while publicly denying it. For Takayama Ukon, however, there could be no compromise. When imperial officials arrived at his castle carrying the ruler's command, they presented him with a simple choice: renounce Christ and he would retain his lands, his wealth, his army, and his honor. Refuse and everything would be taken away. The decision required no long deliberation. Standing before the officials, Ukon calmly declared that no earthly lord could demand the abandonment of the Lord who had given his life on the cross. His answer spread rapidly throughout Japan. Within days he lost his titles, his castles, his income, and the lands his family had governed for generations. Overnight, one of Japan's most powerful samurai became a man with almost nothing. Friends urged him to pretend to renounce Christianity, while continuing to believe privately. Ukon refused. He believed that faith hidden out of fear was no testimony at all. For years he lived as an exile, depending on the generosity of other Christian families while continuing to encourage believers throughout Japan. His humility amazed many who had once served under him. He never spoke bitterly about the rulers who had stripped away everything he possessed. Instead, he reminded fellow Christians that Christ himself had warned his followers that faith often carried a cost. When Tokugawa Ieyasu established the shogunate and launched an even harsher persecution against Christianity, the situation became unbearable. Churches were destroyed, missionaries were expelled, and thousands of Japanese Christians were forced into hiding. In 1614, the new shogun issued a decree expelling prominent Christians from Japan. Takayama Ukon, now an elderly man, was ordered to leave the country forever, alongside hundreds of other believers. He boarded a ship bound for the Spanish colony of Manila in the Philippines. Although exhausted from years of hardship, he remained joyful, believing that suffering for Christ was never a defeat. When he arrived in Manila, thousands gathered to welcome the famous Christian samurai who had sacrificed everything rather than deny his Savior. The Spanish governor honored him as a prince, recognizing that the man who had lost an earthly kingdom had preserved something infinitely greater. Only a few weeks after reaching Manila, weakened by the difficult voyage and years of persecution, Takayama Ukon died peacefully in 1615. His funeral became one of the largest ever held in the city, attended by government officials, soldiers, missionaries, and ordinary Christians who regarded him as a living example of unwavering faith. Centuries later, the Catholic Church formally recognized his witness, and in 2017, he was beatified as Blessed Justo Takayama Ukon. His sword, his castles, and his titles eventually disappeared into history. But the choice he made continues to inspire Christians around the world. When confronted by one of the most powerful rulers in Japan, Takayama Ukon proved that true honor is not measured by the kingdoms we possess, but by the faith we refuse to surrender. And losing everything the world could offer, he gained a legacy, and that has endured for more than 400 years.